Hey team, and welcome. I'm your host, Carrie, creator of Mother Life, your destination for all things real talk and parenting. This is the IRL group chat, where we talk about the wild balancing act of pursuing careers and passions while also doing our best to show up for our kids. Join me every week as I sit down with some badass parents in my closet and we talk about their careers, kids, and relationships and all of the weird shit that comes up when you're trying to balance the seemingly impossible. Our homes are where we spend most of our time, especially when you're in the young kid stage of parenting. And the places where we lay our heads down at night are more than just a backdrop to our lives. Whether you moved around a lot as a kid or stayed in one place your whole childhood, the places we call home have a soul of their own and deserve a rightful place in all of our stories. For some, the place we call home is governed by efficiency and systems to make sure things are put away and tidied. For others, that's the goal, but it's an everyday battle to stay afloat. For others still, the chaos has won and it looks like Fisher-Price vomited on your living room. I'm the last one. Ultimately, whatever your home looks like, what really matters is how it feels. Does opening the front door and coming inside make you feel safe, loved, comforted? Does it make you feel anxious, overwhelmed? Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Not does your house look like your favorite influencer's home or your neighbor's home, but does it feel like home to you? Today's guest is an expert in all things homemaking, literally and figuratively. Emily Tucker of Emily Tucker Design is an interior designer of the highest order. In her 2 decades working in the field, she's worked under some of the world's greatest names in interior design, and then went on to open her own operation, and she's been killing it ever since. Talking to Emily really was an exploration of both sides of what home is and means. It was just as much about the rules to live by that she grew up with and those that she and her husband now use to guide their own brood of 3 kids at home, as it was about the artistry and love that goes into making a home a place that makes its owners feel good. Enjoy. Well, first I should say, welcome to the virtual closet. We're not in my closet, which is if you were visiting LA, because you're from here, right?
Yeah.
I would have you over to the closet, but this will have to do.
Is this an actual closet? It looks like a proper room.
This is a proper room, but my closet also looks like a proper room.
Oh, okay. Well, lucky you.
I'm so happy to be talking to you. I have so many questions selfishly just about how you think about space and being in this chapter of life. Your kids are older than mine, remind me?
I have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
Yeah. So we've got the 2-year-old in common, but you're in a very different stage, which I always really appreciate, and we can talk about some real active shit we're trying to figure out in this house and get your perspective on it.
I'll try. I feel like
and also just the chaos, right? The chaos.
It is chaos.
And the chaos of the home, given your profession, and I think people who are drawn to something like interior design are particular about what they think looks nice and doesn't look nice.
Yeah, I'm very particular about it. It drives my family insane.
Yeah, so I want to hear about that too.
Person.
But as you know, the format of this thing is we're going to start with little Emily in LA, and we're going to get to Emily in Colorado.
Okay. Also, we were in New York at the same time.
You were there during the heat dome?
Yes.
Wait, were you with your whole family?
I was just with my kids, solo.
Oh, I think I saw this, and I was like, you're some kind of psycho.
You know what? Going into it, I was like, it's not going to be that bad. And then I got home, and I was home for 2 days, and then we all went up to Crested Butte for the 4th of July, and then we got back from the 4th of July, and then I had a mini mental breakdown. I was like, everything is too much. This is too much.
Emily, the sheer. So wait, you went on a plane. You went on a plane by yourself with a 9-year-old. Fine, that's not even a person.
He's fine. Yeah.
A 7-year-old, person-ish. But the
person-ish,
real problem
but he's my neediest one. He's my neediest child.
But the problem is the 2-year-old.
I mean, honestly, she's a dream. She's the nicest kid we've got. But but it was The plane ride was the easiest part of it. It was like, it was just wild. But we were in Westchester. We weren't in the city. We only went into the city for one day to like take them to the Met.
Sure.
Which also, they don't give a fuck about museums.
No. We did. So on the way there, fine, uneventful. We also were very privileged. Our au pair had never been to New York before, so she came with us.
That was nice.
Which was like interesting for me because it was really hard to know how and when to ask for help when I'm on a family vacation. Like, she's there to work. She knows that.
Totally.
And also, like, I want to parent my own kids on vacation, and I don't, like, I'm there to be with them. So it was very, like, weird to figure out how to do that, and I feel like we only figured it out at the very end.
Yeah.
But
well, now you know for next time.
Now we know for next time. But on the way there, my toddler was just like chill. She thought it was all very novel. On the way back on the trip, she became a toddler. Like she like the Kraken woke up, and she went from just like, I'm happy to chill, to just like chaos machine. And she wasn't crying. She just was moving constantly, like a slippery piece of mercury going through your fingers. Like I could not. Oh my God, yes.
Like those, did you ever get those toys, like when you would go visit the aquarium, that was like the slippery cucumber thing?
Yes. It was that. Like that. That's what she was.
Yes.
She was a watermelon covered in Vaseline. Like, she was not to be tamed. That's so funny that you were there. Well, I don't know about you, but couldn't be more thrilled to be back in my environment.
Oh my God. Tell me about it.
Thrilled. But to get to today, to get to the confident, potentially psychotic woman who took 3 kids on vacation by herself, we have to start with little Emily growing up in Los Angeles. So do you have siblings?
I do. I'm one of four siblings.
Where are you in the order?
I'm number 2. We're boy, girl. And speaking of psychotic adults, my mom had all 4 of us in a 5-year span. So we are all less than 2 years apart, with the exception of me and my younger brother, who are exactly 2 years apart, like 2 years and 5 days apart. So me and my older brother are 18 months apart, then 2 years between me and Noah, and then 18 months between Noah and my youngest sister, Olivia.
Oh my God.
I know.
Wow, I'm so thrilled to get into this. Now, are you, as adults, are you in touch with all of these people? Yes,
they are my favorite people. My siblings are my best friends in the world. I love them so much.
Now, what do you think made that happen? Like, are you trauma bonded, or like what is it? No. How did we make that happen?
I think my father is from a large family of 5. Him and his siblings are all not close. There was a lot of, I think, competition that was instilled in their sibling, like just in their sibling dynamic, that he really, really resented and didn't like. And so him and my mom made a really conscious effort. They knew from the get-go they wanted to have exactly 4 kids, and they knew they wanted all of us to be like a really strong family unit. And so being mad at each other, fighting, hurting each other emotionally or physically was just simply not acceptable. And they just constantly were telling us that like we were going to be friends for our entire life, and so we had to be kind to each other. And they told us that a lot. Like, kids fight.
Yes, they fucking do, which is one of the things I wanted to get into, because you have 3, I have 2. The sibling rivalry thing, I mean, I have...
Yeah, I saw your story today.
It's getting... And I got some great advice from a friend who has older kids, 3, and she gave me some good advice last night, which I'm, still processing and figuring out. But it's just relentless, and I have been doing the thing of being like, this is your best friend for your whole life.
Yeah.
How do you want to treat your best friend? And da-da-da-da-da. And he's just like, you're a fucking stupid penis head, Mom, and I'm gonna...
You don't know.
And, like, I don't... Return her to the hospital. Like, don't give a shit. I'll make my own friends. Like, just, like, in cold blood throwing stuffies at her.
Yeah. I think also, like, nobody can make me as mad in the world as my older brother.
Right.
Like, so there is that too, where like the maddest I've ever been at anybody is at Ben, but also I love him more than anybody else in the world too. So like, it's hard. You have those moments, and like siblings always know how to poke each other to get the ultimate rise.
Yeah.
And they're just testing their little boundaries, and my kids, I mean, I don't know. For my group, our middle child is very, very focused on fairness and like,
Yeah.
it's not fair. Jack got this, Harry got this. Why do they get more attention? Blah, 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 blah. And I tell them all the time that like all three of you guys have different needs. You're different kids. I have to parent you different ways, and not everybody's going to get the same thing every time. And we're just doing our best.
AKA tough titties.
Tough titties. Get over it.
Get over it. Okay, so you grew up with like a full brood of people in your house.
Yeah.
And was your mom working in the home, working out of the home?
She was not working, but she was, add to her list of psycho tendencies, she was getting her master's in Jewish studies at the University of Judaism in LA. So she was studying to become a rabbi.
Okay. And your dad, what was he up to?
My dad owned his own business. He is an architect. And then back then, he also had an aerial photography company, which was pre-Google Earth days. So
wow.
Yeah. So like back then, when there was no Google Earth, he would hire pilots to fly up over LA and take pictures and video of like fires, crazy traffic, like when like OJ, like those were aerial photography companies that were like flying around in helicopters taking video. And so my dad owned a company that did that.
Do you have does he still have amazing printouts? I feel like
he does. There's some like crazy, especially of fires, there's some like crazy photos and video of just like plumes of smoke coming out of like the hills and like Topanga Canyon and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, so this is interesting. So your mom, so you grew up in a Jewish home, and like not just Jewish, but Jewish.
Like we were Jews, yeah. We had Shabbat every Friday night, synagogue every Saturday, all four of us bar and bat mitzvahed. Like we were...
Big fat Jews.
Big fat Jews.
Big fat
like
Jews.
Like Reform Jews, like LA Reform Jews, but still. Yes, we were Judaism was a very strong part of our upbringing.
And then you've also got this dad who's introducing you to, what kind of architect was he? Is he?
He was a residential architect. He still is. Yeah.
So you've kind of got this early exposure to helping people make their like home dreams come true in a way.
Yeah, and my dad, so the house that we moved to after we left, so we grew up in Westwood near UCLA. And when we left there, we moved to La Cañada. I don't know if you know it, like between Pasadena and Glendale, like small little community. And my dad designed and built the house that was there. And so from a young age, I was on construction sites and just like seeing houses be built. And I always remember loving it, just like loving seeing something come from an imagination in your brain and then sprouting up and being something that you could live and breathe in.
Okay, so this makes a lot of sense, obviously. We don't have to draw too many fucking lines to figure out how we got an interior designer. Yeah. And we're going to talk more about that when we get to your career. But in terms of growing up, childhood-wise, you're sort of a middle, but it's a very interesting dynamic when you have more than 3 kids. What was growing up like? Were you, like, really into school? Were you a good girl, rebel?
I was really good at school. It never was something that I worked really hard at. I was always just kind of good at it, and I put in enough effort to get by and get good grades and not get in trouble school-wise. In my youth, I was definitely, I think I was actually a rebel all the way through. So I have like my 2 brothers on either side of me, and then there were a lot of kids on our street, a lot of boys. And I wanted to be one of the cool boys, like so bad. So you wanted to be them. You didn't want to be with them. I wanted to like do all the stuff that they were doing.
You weren't being like boy crazy. You were just like trying to be.
I wanted to be a cool boy.
Got it.
Yeah. So we were like, our house was on like a pretty steep hill, and we were like luging down the road on skateboards, climbing fences, climbing trees, getting poison oak like all over our bodies. We started a fire once in our garage because we wanted to watch like flammable cleaning solutions. Yeah. Light on fire. Like we were wild. We were a wild crew.
And then when you got older, like high school age, And is this still the sort of antics were you up to? Were you like going to parties?
Yeah, I was doing all of that. I was going to parties. I was smoking a lot of weed. I was still doing fine in school. Like, I could still get by. It was never that hard for me. I was a good test taker. I could like focus well and like get the shit done that I needed to get done. But yeah, on the side I was
wild child.
Yeah, for sure.
But like kind of like a dirty wild child, because it sounds like you were like rolling around in dirt and also going to the parties.
Once I got to high school and I realized that being like a dirty, ripped jean little girl was not that cute, I was better at like not being a mess, but I was still, yeah. Wild, yeah.
Love it. And then was college in the cards for you? Was that something you were interested in?
Yes, I was always like, yeah, for sure. I was always going to go to college. It was something that our parents like very much expected out of the four of us. It was always our choice. They were very generous and put all four of us through our chosen universities. And I went to CU Boulder. I loved my time in college. It was so fun. And yeah.
So much so that you never left.
Well, I did leave and then I came back.
You just missed it.
I missed it.
What did you study in college?
Architecture. And just, yeah, I applied to like 8 schools. I applied to all of them with different majors, and CU came and did like a presentation at my high school and was like, this is the life you could have if you went to CU and lived in Boulder. And I just was so smitten by it. It just looked so beautiful. And it was the only school I toured. As soon as I got in, I was like, that's the one for me. And I just kept the major because I was interested enough in architecture. I really liked arts. And yeah, so I finished out my degree. It's an environmental design degree with an emphasis on architectural design.
How did your dad feel whenever in the process he learned that you were going to be studying architecture?
I think he was psyched. I mean, like, it gave us, I think part of what was fun about it was as you're going through architecture school, you obviously study a lot of historic architectural homes. And so my dad also has a huge affinity for architecture, and LA is ripe with amazing residential architects. And so it was really fun to like go through those case studies with him and talk to him about what I liked and what he really liked. And yeah, it was fun.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
I always find it really interesting when people do follow in a parent's footsteps.
Yeah.
You know, good, bad, or indifferent. I just think it's like you clearly have a positive association.
Yeah. I mean, I also remember so strongly like the houses that we grew up in, that my grandparents' houses, like houses that we spent time in. I remember them so fondly, and they were all so different and spoke so much about the people who lived there. And so I just like love referencing those memories. And I think that houses have that ability to just like take you back to a time and place and make you feel safe or not, or bright or not, or sad or happy, or like, I just feel like there's so much that a house can give you.
Do your parents still live in the house in Kenyatta? Or are they still with us? I should ask first.
Yes, both my parents are still alive. They both still live in the house in La Kenyatta. All four of us are like, get out of this giant house. You guys need to move on.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because it could go one of two ways, right? Like, if, you know, you do have these fond memories, like, how cool is it that your kids get to go to this house that you grew up in? Yeah,
the house is like very contemporary, and because we moved there when all 4 of us were older, like not toddler age, it is like a death trap for small children. There are just like sharp edges and cliffs to fall off at every moment. But it is really, it's like the kids love going to that house. It's really cool. It's like a really cool house.
Yeah, it's a really special thing to give them, to be able to like make that tie. I don't have that so much, and like I know that my mom often laments that she did sell like the house that we grew up in, because, you know, there's just that break of like you can't go, you can never really go back anyway, but then like you literally can't go back.
I know it's so funny because my mom, the house that my mom grew up in, her stepmom and her dad, like still, or her late father lived there forever. Like the house is still there. My parents got married there.
Wow.
So I always would go to her childhood home, and it was never something that I like, and like my dad's family had like their house, they like moved around a lot, but I feel like kind of got the gist of what his childhood homes were like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is nice that they get to go see that.
It's a little snapshot. It's a little snapshot.
Yeah.
But you know what? You don't know, like, you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't have it, like, whatever, your kids aren't going to be fucked up. I don't think they're going to be in therapy about it. Yeah, no. They'll be in therapy about other stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much.
So, okay, you're growing up. You have a sense of the types of things that you want to do. You go to college. You have a great experience. After college, at what point are you saying, like, oh, okay, I want to do interior design?
Well, I graduated in 2009, and when
Great time to be alive.
Super great time to graduate and try to find a job. I mean, the world was thriving.
Yeah. We're being sarcastic for our younger listeners. It was a global financial crisis.
It was horrible. So I, by my senior year of college, I was certain I didn't want to be an architect. They like really put us through the ringer on our final studio class of like trying to design a building that conformed to all code and means of egress and fire, et cetera. And I was like, bleh, I do not want to solve for these problems. So I thought that I wanted to be a set stylist. I like really wanted to do photo styling for Domino magazine. And one of my cousins in New York had like an in there. So I was like dead set on moving to New York and working for Domino and being a set stylist. But then Domino closed in 2009. The first time they closed in 2009. So that was out. I really had nothing better to do, so I just moved back to LA and thought interior design would be a fun shot. Like I knew all of the technical skills, like AutoCAD and SketchUp and Photoshop and like all of the Adobe. Like I knew all of the technical skills that I needed to support an interior designer. So I just like hounded all my parents' friends who had designers to have their designers hire me. And then one of my neighbors from our Westwood days hooked me up with her interior designer, and he hired me for 1 week. He had an install, which is like when you move somebody into their house, like after, it's like the culmination of like years of work typically.
I've seen HGTV.
Yeah. So he had me help for the install and like basically just hired me on this trial basis. And Friday rolled around of that week, and I was like, thank you so much for the opportunity. And he was like, see you Monday. And I got to work for him for a little while. I was still very much like hopping around. So I like got my little feet wet working for him, and then bounced around to a few other designers in LA.
Amazing.
For a while. Yeah.
And where does your husband enter this picture?
So I'm in LA. I work for some amazing designers there. One of the designers I worked for was fairly adamant that if I wanted to have my own interior design company, I had to go to New York, because there was no way I could like truly understand how to run a business without going to the land of business. And so I applied to 5 super, super well-known interior design firms in LA, or in New York, excuse me. My youngest sister, was also in New York at the time. She had just graduated from Parsons, and she was pretty lonely in the city. And it was like the perfect timing for me to leave LA, get a job in New York, and then go live with Olivia. So moved to New York. I worked for Stephen Gambrell out there while I lived there. So I moved to New York in 2011, and then met my husband in 2012. At a bar in the West Village, the old school way, before...
So old-fashioned,
before apps were a thing. We met and quickly fell in love and got engaged after 8 months.
First of all, let's point out that you guys literally were on the precipice of apps. I think it was like
Yes.
Tinder came out like that year or the next year, I think.
It was like, I think Tinder had like just come out, but it was still a little clunky, and it was mostly just used for like hookups.
Yes. Yeah. So you met the old-fashioned way. Is he from New York?
He is from Connecticut.
Okay.
He's from Connecticut. He had just moved back to New York the year before. He was in a relationship and left. He had been living in Steamboat, Colorado for the previous 6 years. And
so
he
you
had
both
like
have this Colorado connection.
Yeah, so he had like and he's also a huge CU fan, and I don't know if you know anything about CU football, but historically we've been horrible at football. Like from 1998, I would say until 2022, 23, we were really, really bad at football. And so to find somebody who was like a diehard CU fan who didn't go to CU during their years of horrible
Kismet.
It was like crazy. He was so happy. He was like, "Oh my God, you went to CU? I love the Buffs."
Yeah,
I was like,
the
"Why?
Buffs.
Why? Why do
I
you love them?"
personally feel like, as somebody who's not a huge sports person, I grew up being a fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which historically is a terrible team. I mean, they got much better in recent years, but I kind of like having a shitty team.
Yeah,
I
he
kind of
loved it.
like the expectation of going in, like, we're probably not going to win, but, like, I'm definitely going to eat a hot dog or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, so I like that.
Yeah. So
What's
we
his
met
name?
Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Matt Bernstein.
Matt Bernstein.
Yeah, so he had left Steamboat. He had just gotten out of a relationship. I also had just gotten out of a relationship like a couple months before we met. And we both did not want to get into another serious relationship, but
he was a Buffs fan.
But he was a Buffs fan, and I was a Buff, and so it just worked out.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
There's only one thing to do, which is get in
married.
the Buff. And get married. I mean, get married. So did you guys know what kinds of like life you wanted to have? Like, were you imagining we're gonna stay in New York? We're gonna like what was the
I feel
conversation?
like because there was like very little conversation. I feel like it was one of those things where like we were young, we both were. I was pretty settled in my career. I knew that I wanted to stay in interior design. That's the kind of thing where you can do anywhere. We got married. We were trying to figure out what we were going to do, if we were going to buy a place in New York and stay there. We had some friends with young kids in New York, and it just seemed really hard and just like kind of a grind. And I was already so sick of riding the goddamn L train to fucking Soho every day because we lived in Brooklyn, and I just like was so sick of my commute killed me. Like I hated it. And
Death by schlep.
Death by schlep, exactly. And we were going to buy a townhouse in Bed-Stuy, and we're like about to make an offer. And then we were both just like, well, where would we really want to live if like we didn't have to think about our careers? And we just kind of picked Boulder. He really wanted to come back to Colorado. I did not want to live in a seasonal town like Steamboat. But we wanted to be near an international airport, someplace that our families could afford to visit us. Aspen was on the table, but it was like just so hard to get to, especially in the winter.
Yeah.
And so we just picked Boulder and like hired a realtor while we were still living in New York. We had both never visited Colorado together or never visited Boulder together. We'd gone on a ski trip to Aspen and Steamboat while we were dating. But yeah, just like came here for the first time together, bought the house that we still live in, and just like, lived on a prayer and moved here, and it all worked out.
Amazing.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Speaking of God, was it an interesting priority? Where was it for you on I need to end up with a Jewish guy?
It was never something that I was like, oh, this has to happen. It was certainly really convenient. And it was really nice that he was also raised Jewish, and it just was like one of those things that was like not a deal breaker, but super nice to have. And it has made things a lot easier, especially as we were going through like getting married and having kids, and just like there are certain traditions that Jews have that are pretty ingrained in our culture. And it was nice to not have to argue with somebody about that and just be like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing.
And would you say you have any characteristics of a stereotypical Jewish mother?
I mean, I feed my children so much food. Yeah. I like nothing makes me happier than when they eat food that I've made them.
Are they good eaters?
No. They complain about everything.
Great.
And they hate everything I make them.
To be fair.
Well, that's not true. They've gotten better over the years, but and also I'm a really good cook. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I'm like a very good cook.
Do you think kids give a flying fuck about if you're a good cook?
I mean,
I'm an incredible cook. My kid eats white rice every fucking night.
It's crazy.
They don't give a flying fuck. That's because that's not what it's about.
It's a power
not eating
struggle.
your food. That's not what it's about. It's about, yeah, exactly. It's power. It's control.
It's a power struggle.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yes, yes, I love to feed them. I love hosting parties. I love hosting Jewish gatherings. I love bringing all the Jews together when there's a Jewish holiday. I have a lot of
Jewish
stereotypical
mom
Jewish
qualities.
mom. Yeah.
Was there anything about your childhood? You had mom staying in the home, working in the home, also studying at the same time to be a rabbi, and you have dad who's an entrepreneur, got multiple businesses of his own. Were there any like things about how you grew up that you were like, when I have a family of my own, I want to bring them along? Like,
I mean,
you said Shabbat, like,
we
did you have
yes
dinner
we
together every night, or was it just
we
Shabbat?
no we had dinner together every night. I remember that being something that I really like, sort of. I was annoyed by as a kid, but then as an adult, I really, really I love mealtime in general. I love that reset. I think it's really nice to gather and talk about days. So that's something that I really wanted to bring from my childhood. My dad also, because he owned his own businesses, he was around a lot. Like, he was around a lot more than I think some of my parents or some of my friends' parents. And I loved that. Like, he spent so much time with us when we were young. He was, he took us on a lot of adventures. He took us to school every day. He picked us up every day. Like, he put my hair in a ponytail. Like, my dad was around so much. And I really wanted to be with somebody who also valued that time and valued being able to spend time with a young family. And Matt very much is that. And so it was really nice to that was something that I was like really, really, I don't know, it was important to me.
And then are there any things that, like, as you have gone on your parenting journey that you've said, like, oh, like, we did it this way growing up, but actually I didn't love that, I want to do it differently, or like, I don't want to do X to my kids?
I mean, I don't know. I had like a really blessed.
Gross, Emily.
I know. I'm
Ugh.
really sorry. I had like a really good, happy childhood. We had a really strong family dynamic. I mean, like, my parents have been married for 44 years.
Do you ever see them argue when you were growing up?
Yes, there were two memorable fights that they had. And they would have like their little tiffs of like, somebody wasn't doing something and the other one needed to show up in a different way. But they were very respectful to each other in the way that they argued and the way that they talked to each other. And like, even to this day, I don't think I've ever heard either one of my parents say a negative thing about the other one. Like, they are so respectful of each other. And so that was something that I also really admired. Like, they fought, like, they had their times, but they always resolved it. And a lot of times we got to see the resolution, which I think was really good. It wasn't like a secret behind a hidden door thing.
No, I think that's great. I think it's really important for kids to see their parents argue, because like, we all argue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that. Okay, so now you guys are in Colorado. You are thinking about starting a family. You are setting up a business from scratch again because you moved to a new place. You got to start all over. Did you start working with somebody else initially, or did you just go out on your own?
I stayed working for Steven remotely when I came to Colorado. So I still was kind of managing the projects that I had been working on and trying to see them through. I was going back to New York a lot to like go to site meetings and things like that. It was not sustainable. So after about a year of being here, I decided to go out on my own. I had one project that for a client that was in New York, and she had hired me while I was working for Steven. And so I had that one thing under my belt just to like keep me going and give me some income. And then just networked and met people here and was really lucky in the first couple of projects that I got here. And then, and was able to like make more of a name for myself. But I think anybody can tell you that owning a business is so up and down, especially one that is project-based where like projects start and then they stop. Like, you finish it and that project is over, you're not getting another one. Especially with homes, like, it's not like people are buying 2 new homes a year, like we've worked on multiple projects for the same people, but it's not like 5,
Yeah.
So it was, there was definitely like, we still have ups and downs, but those early years, like the first 5 years, it was like one year was really good, the next year was really, really bad. And then the next year was a little bit better. And then the year after was slower. So it was very up and down. And, yeah, it was a huge learning curve to try to figure out how to structure a business to go with
Be
that,
resilient.
to be resilient and to handle the ebbs and flows.
And what was your husband doing at the time?
He also started a business.
Yeah, you guys are so stress-free over there.
I know.
What kind of business?
He started a gym, a movement gym it's now called APECO, that's based here in Boulder. And yeah, he was building out that.
Cool. So everyone's stress-free. And then when do you guys decide to start trying to have kids?
So
into this entrepreneurial clusterfuck?
So Matt opened his gym when our oldest son was, I was 3 months out from giving birth. So he opened his business in February of 2016. I wasn't really working much in Colorado at that point. I had I don't even remember. I think I had 1 or 2 projects here, but not a lot. I was working out of my house and it was pretty low key. So yeah, he opened his gym 3 months before Jack was born. And it was, I don't even remember how we knew we wanted to have kids. After we had been here for a year, I was pretty bored and lonely. And I was the only way I can see, making new friends as adults is really hard, especially when you're working for yourself. You're not in an office environment.
Yeah,
you have no ways to connect with other people. So I was the only way I'm going to make friends here is if I have a kid.
You could have gotten a dog, Emily.
We already had a dog.
The dog wasn't bringing in
the dog was not bringing in friends. I mean, he was great and he brought in a lot of conversations with strangers on the street. But so we had Jack, and Jack was just a dreamy first child. He just was he still is very calm. He's very thoughtful. He's a very cerebral kid. And so 8 months after he was born, when he was 8 months old, we were let's do this again. This was so great. And then we had Brady. They're 18 months apart.
Which was familiar to you because that was the cadence in your house. Yeah,
totally. And I was this is going to be fine. My mom did this 3 times, not a big deal. And it rocked my world. And it was the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life, was have 2 kids that close in age, especially 2 boys. And my husband was training under this guy who was based overseas. And so Matt was traveling a lot for very long periods of time. In very far away places. And so I was alone a lot with these 2 little boys and just postpartum depression galore.
At what point did you say this isn't baby blues, this isn't sad, this is I need some support here?
I don't remember when it was exactly, but I remember just crying all the time for no reason and just feeling extremely anxious, and anxiety was not a feeling I was familiar with. It wasn't something that I had ever really experienced. So feeling that feeling was really, really jarring for me. And so I pretty quickly reached out to my doctor and got on some anti-anxiety meds, because I was I can't live like this. I can't parent like this. I can't be in a relationship like this. And I need some help. And I feel Brady was probably 6 months old when that happened.
Good on you. I just remember looking at my mom pretty early on and sobbing and just saying, I'm never going to be happy again.
I definitely remember feeling like that. I feel I remember those early days of having my firstborn and then my second, those days were so long, and every time they went through a phase of not sleeping or not eating or being sick or not being of an age where they could get a certain medication, I remember that feeling a torturous amount of time. Yeah. I feel there were so many parents who were oh, you just have to get through it, this too shall pass. And I'm but when?
But when? And also,
I need a fucking date.
It's a pyramid scheme as well, right? Because you get past a certain point and everyone's oh, well, once you get to 18 months, oh, once
Right.
you get to 2 years, actually, there's the three-nager, and then you get to three, and then you get to four, and everyone's like, the fucking fours. It's like everybody's got a thing for every age. It's just like,
Yeah.
we're
And you're like,
all
cool.
right,
When am I gonna
right.
catch a break here?
Yeah, it's just like everybody's collectively telling everybody if you just get to the next one, it'll be okay.
Yeah. And it's just, I did not, and also like our second born, like Brady is a radically different child than Jack was. He was a very,
Yeah.
very difficult kid. He had a lot of he had a lot of needs that he wanted to communicate that he couldn't, which he found
Yeah.
very, very frustrating. He's super loud, like just the volume that he can produce is incredible. And so I found that to be also very jarring and difficult. And I was really like, I had this perfect little 18-month-old Jack who was like so sweet and lovely. And then I had this like screaming, dramatic baby. And I really resented that. I like
Yeah.
really was upset that I had this kid who I didn't know, who came into my life and into my family, who was taking time away from this other baby that I had already formed a bond with. And it was a very, very difficult adjustment to have those two.
I also can imagine it was potentially all the more difficult because you had two boys. And so it's like, well, you're wearing the same clothes, you sort of look the same or whatever.
And they do. They look almost identical.
So it's confusing because it's like I
Who
almost
are
feel like
you?
it's easier to make excuses for or like figure out the differences if there's like a gender difference. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, but in this situation, I would imagine, having not lived it myself, that makes it all the more confusing and
It
frustrating.
was just hard. Like it was just a hard, dark period of time. And I meet people who have kids or going to have kids 18 months apart. And I'm like, it's going to be really hard for the first 3 years of your second child's life. Like it's just fucking difficult. Like everything is difficult.
And at what point do you feel, if you do feel, now that they're 9 and 7, that the fog cleared in
When
terms
Brady
of...
turned 5.
Great.
Yeah, I found that the more, and I think it's different for every kid. Like by the time Jack was 3, he was like a really easy, I mean, he was always an easy kid, but there was a period of time where like he was just easy. Like he can communicate what he needed. He like went with the flow. He was pretty resilient. Brady never felt that way. He still doesn't. He doesn't go with the flow ever.
Yeah.
But when he was 5, he could communicate his needs in a way that we could all clearly understand and sort of try to get him what he needed if it was a reasonable request. But yeah, he was just a wild man. Like he's still just like a wild child. I mean, when he was like 2 or 3 and he wanted to watch a movie, he would want to watch like the most horrific horror movie in the world that he had seen a poster for somewhere. And he was like, I want to watch Wolverine.
Shredder 3. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, you can't watch Wolverine, bro. You're 3.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want Wolverine. Like just like screaming, throwing a huge tantrum. And I'm just like, yo, man, this is not it.
This is not it. And it's also really hard, I feel like, when your kids, you of course love your kids unconditionally, but it's really hard when you go through those periods of not liking them very much. And
then you feel really guilty.
And you feel really guilty. And
then it adds to your postpartum anxiety and stress.
The reason why I'm saying this
cycle.
out loud is because it's something that, like, I am obviously obsessed with my children. I think they're wonderful. And also, right now, it has been a challenging time with one of them.
How old are yours?
Well, one is 4 3/4, if you ask him.
Okay, you're almost there.
Yeah, and one is 1 3/4. So they're 3 years apart.
Okay, so much smarter. What a better spread.
And, you know, it's just, I think it's important to say out loud that, like, it's okay to not like your kids all the time. Because my husband is a lot more comfortable being like, he's being, to me, obviously not an earshot of him, but to me, at the end of the day, like, he was being really challenging today. And I immediately, like, my hackles go up. Like, I'm mad at my husband, who is just saying the truth.
Right.
It was really hard today.
Yeah, but you're like, don't talk about my kids like that.
Don't talk about my kids like that. And also, I had a really hard day. It's a very confusing thing. And should my son listen to this when he is so much older, like, he will know how much I love him because I continue to show up for him and care about him and listen to him. And also, oh my God, dude, like, man, you were tough. There was a period where you were tough.
They're tough. They're tough. And then they also have their moments. Like, Brady is a wild man and he's crazy and volatile and super unreasonable, but then he also is like my most loving child. Like,
Right.
he wants to snuggle. He loves me so much. He always tells me he's like, Mommy, you're so beautiful. I love you so much. Like,
Yeah.
can I snuggle with you? Will you snuggle me? Will you scratch my back? Like, he is so sweet and loving. And also, I joke with my friends, like, I feel like I'm in a toxic relationship with him where he's like, you're so mean, you're the worst. And then 2 minutes later, he's like, Mommy, you look so beautiful today.
This literally, like, you know what, Emily, thank you. This is like literally, this is the life I'm living right now. And it is such a mind fuck. It's so
such a
confusing.
mind fuck.
Mommy, I hate you. You're the worst mommy ever. To 5 minutes later, Mommy, I want to live with you my whole life.
Forever.
And
yeah.
can we sit here and hold hands? I'm like,
yes.
I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with this.
Like,
last night, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, yesterday, Brady he screamed the whole drive. We were going to go for a hike. It was a beautiful day. And we're going hiking. He screamed and cried the whole drive up to the hike, hated every second, was so mad at me for making him go hiking. And then he wanted to hold my hand the whole time.
Right.
The whole time. He was like, can we hold hands?
Last night, my husband said to my son, he had been challenging for a while, and my husband said, hey, buddy, like, I'm going to give you a kiss goodnight. Mommy's going to tuck you in. Today's been a little tough, and I'm going to go take some quiet time. And my son looks at him and goes, okay, Daddy, I hope you feel better and get your patience back. I love you so much. Like, it literally just switched and was like, he was like, is it okay if I give you a kiss? And he, like, gives my husband a kiss. And then my husband looks at me and he was like, all right, like, I'll go do bedtime. And then he was like this sweet angel, but it was just like, my husband was just like lovingly being like, I need a break. This has been really hard. And then he immediately was like, I hope you get your patience back.
Oh, I mean, they just slay you like that.
Yeah, and then you wake up and do it all over again.
I know, and bedtime's always the worst. And then you're like, how did it come to this? Why am I so mad?
It's truly wild. Now, tell me about your division of labor, because you're both entrepreneurs doing your own thing. There's a lot of hustle involved in what both of you do. How have you decided what the division of labor is, and like what sort of support do you have around you?
Okay, so I will start by saying that I am I don't know if I'm like type A. I would say I'm like type B plus.
Okay.
I really like order. I have like a really strong, what do you call that? I'm like really good at getting shit done. I'm like very organized. I'm like,
executive functioning.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Executive functioning. I'm very high executive functioning. So like I manage all of the doctor's appointments, birthday party presents, play dates, gifts for families, scheduling, travel plans, flight booking, grocery shopping, cooking, managing cleaning. I do a lot of cleaning myself because I'm a maniac. And then Matt is responsible for all of the fun, I would say. And he unloads the dishwasher sometimes.
Okay. What does the being in charge of fun look like?
I mean, he just like is so fun. He loves being outside. He loves taking the kids on adventures. If I'm taking the kids on a like date outing during the day, especially when they were really young, I was like, okay, have to make sure the diaper bag is packed. Have to make sure we have like a full packed lunch. Where are the water bottles? Where's the sunscreen? Like just making sure I had all my ducks in a row. And Matt is just like, we're going outside, grab your shoes. And like, they just like head out without worrying too much about it. And it's just much easier. And they just always have a good time because there's not some crazy lady in the background being like, did you pack the right socks?
Emily, have you seen Bluey?
Yeah.
Have you seen the pool episode?
Probably. What season is it?
The premise of the episode is Fun Dad goes and takes the kids, Bandit takes the kids to the pool. They get to the pool and he hasn't packed shit.
Yeah. But it's fine.
No, it's not fine.
Oh, it's not fine. Okay.
There's no sunscreen, so they have to stay in the shady part. There's no goggles, so they can't dive. There's a thing, so they have to do this and that. And then finally, they're like, Daddy, you're actually no fun at all. And then Mommy shows up with the fucking beach bag that he forgot with everything and snacks. And they're like, actually, Mommy's really fun.
Well,
I guess the point is, Emily, you can be fun too.
I am
with
fun.
your planning.
I am fun. And I think the early years, it was very hard to divide up the labor because I was so particular about how I wanted things done and how I want the house kept. I'm really good at hiring people and outsourcing when I needed to. So like when the babies were really small, I like hired a postpartum doula. I had our cleaner come twice a week. I hired somebody to come and cook meals twice a week so that we had like a fridge stocked full of food and I didn't have to deal with that. It was a luxury that I like set aside money for to do that. And it wasn't like something that we could keep on forever, but I'm really good at finding help when I need it. And I also understand that Matt is really good at certain things and he's not great at others. And even if he was responsible for cleaning the house and going grocery shopping, like he's not going to get the right thing. Like one time I sent him out I was making lasagna and I sent him out to get mushrooms and he got shiitake mushrooms. Like what the fuck am I going to do with shiitake mushrooms in a lasagna? You know, like it's just like stuff like that where I would rather just do some things because it's more efficient that way, and leave him to be responsible for the things that he's really good at.
And what do you fight about though?
The house being clean all the time.
Right.
And the dishwasher constantly.
Tell me more.
I mean, I just
give me the premise, give me the setup.
I will like go to bed, the house is clean, kitchen's clean, whatever, wake up in the morning, make the kids a full breakfast, and then like I'll go to a workout, leave Matt with the kids for 3 hours while I like go work out, go to the grocery store, whatever, and come back and like the kitchen is still a mess from breakfast and the dishwasher's not unloaded, and I lose my mind because I'm just like, what the fuck? How did this not happen?
And is he like, you're right, Emily? Or is he like, but I was with the kids?
That's exactly it. The second. I was with the kids and I'm like, I'm with the kids and I still managed to bake cookies, prep dinner, clean the house, do the laundry. Like, what happened?
A tale as old as time.
A tale as old as time.
Unfortunately.
And so now I just have to be, I will say Matt is really, really excellent at taking feedback and taking a directive. So if I'm like, hey, I'm going to work out, when I come back, I really need the kitchen clean because I also need to make lunch and we're having friends over for dinner. Please make sure this is done. I've learned over the years that I can't assume that he just knows every day that the dishwasher needs to be emptied, even though like logically that makes sense.
It happens every day.
It happens every day. I have to remind him that this is something that I need him to do.
And what do you do that annoys him, do you think?
Constantly yell at him to do things when I want them done. He's always mad that I want things done on my time and not when he's ready to do them. Like if I'm like, we're organizing the garage.
This feels very familiar.
Or cleaning out the cars, or we're going to go through all of the kids' old shoes and find out which ones fit and which ones don't. I'm like, we're doing this right now. He's like, why are we doing this right now? Like,
because then it won't get done if we don't do it right now.
Right, but he doesn't want to do it when I want to do it. He wants to do it on his own time, which I hear. Like that is a valid point, but also
just do it when I want to do it. How about that?
Let's get it done.
Yeah, how about we just do it? Okay, well that all sounds like pretty familiar.
It's pretty normal, yeah.
Pretty famous stuff.
Yeah, and like, you know, we have our, like Matt yesterday we took the kids for a hike in the morning and then we like all laid around all afternoon and I wanted to watch the show that I started binging.
What is it?
The Better Sister. Have you seen it?
Oh, people love it. I haven't seen it yet.
God, it's so good.
Okay, so shout out Better Sister.
Yeah, we were laying around all afternoon and then we got into bed and Matt was like, I feel so bad. I like didn't really pay attention to the kids this afternoon. We like didn't go outside and play baseball and like I didn't take him to the bike park and like didn't do all these things. And he was like, we were just laying around watching TV. And I'm like, that's sometimes okay. Like we don't have to do things with them all the time. There was definitely a period when they were younger that Matt felt like every day with them had to be the best day ever.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure on everybody. It's a lot of pressure for us as parents to make the thing happen. And then it's a lot of pressure on the kids to show up as their best selves, having the best time ever.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Sometimes you just have to couch rot or whatever we call it these days.
Totally. Just like have to sit on the couch and like the kids made an incredible mess with slime and food coloring. I don't know what the fuck they were doing, but it was like, it was a horrible situation. I was so pissed about that. There was just like a huge mess. But they had a great time in the backyard being little animals, and Harriet was just delighted crawling all over the Nugget sofa and pretending to talk on a remote control that she thought is a phone.
So cute. Also, you raised wild animals running around outside just like yourself.
That's right.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about interior design
Okay.
because I do have some questions for you.
All right, shoot.
So first of all, I have to say, and I've said this to you offline already, like I am obsessed with your work. Like you are
Thank you.
so fucking talented
Thank
and
you.
my brain doesn't work like that. And so I am all the more fascinated because just 10 out of 10, love it. You guys should go check out her Instagram so you can see some of the incredible stuff that Emily has worked on. Now, as somebody who has been doing this professionally for a very long time, I want to ask a couple of questions. A, do you think there's like a right time to engage an interior designer? So I have friends who are like at the same stage as me, like little kids, it's a fucking mess, and they're getting interior designers now. Is it make sense to wait? Like, when do you think is the right time? I know that the answer is going to be different for everybody, but like, when do you know that like maybe it's time to call in the professional?
I mean, I personally think, and there's a lot of research on this, that having a functioning, organized, beautiful space that you find beautiful and calming will change your life in every other way. So like you don't want to walk in a door and have mess and ugly furniture that's stained. I mean, for me, it makes me very anxious to walk into a messy, unorganized home. And there's research behind that when you have a happy, clean space, it will make the rest of your life better. So I think if you are constantly walking into your house and you're like, I fucking hate it here, that's a great time to call an interior designer and make it a space that you love. I think the only caveat to that is it's expensive to furnish and decorate a home. It's very expensive to renovate a home. So as long as you know that going in and you have, the budget and the cash allocated for it, I think any time is a good time to have a beautiful space that you love to be in, because we spend so much time in our homes. Your kids are making their memories there. Like, I can't imagine how tough it would be as a little kid to like feel anxious in a house because there's stuff everywhere and they don't know where their toy is, or it's just like messy and disorganized and ugly.
Now, the corollary of that is in this chapter of life, figuring out how to make that work in a way that doesn't make your kids anxious that if they touch something, they're going to get in trouble, right?
Look, I think it also depends on the person and the level of finery in their house. Like, I live with 3 little creatures and a very wild husband. I know that I can't have super nice things. I have things that I think are really beautiful and nice enough. And then I also have things that are super nice that I also know can stand up to small children. There are certain materials that are more hardy than others. There are certain wall finishes that stand up better to kids than others. Countertops, tiles, like those are all things that you can select knowing that you will have small people with with no prefrontal cortex living there, so that when they do make a mess, you can clean it up. Or if they get a yogurty mouth and hand on your sofa, it's not going to kill you because there's a fabric on there that can be cleaned, and it's just the way it is. So I'm a big proponent in designing your space for the way you're going to use it, and just making sure you're making the choices that need to be made. Like, I feel like we work with people all the time that they're constantly talking about the resale value of their house. I'm like, are you selling your house tomorrow? No?
Right.
Great, then fuck it. Design it for how you want to live in it. Like, who cares that marble countertops sell better? If you need a quartz countertop because you've got 3 toddlers, get a quartz countertop. The next buyer can replace it. Fuck them.
Yeah. Agree. Fuck them.
Like, who cares?
Agree.
Who cares about these random people that you don't know?
Yeah. These hypothetical people. Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of one of the things that I have found is in considering, like, is now the right time to get this sort of help and support? Like, I love my house. I think it has incredible potential. We are not at a stage of life where, like, I'm going to make the investment. It works well enough. But part of the thing that I think is holding me back, so people say about therapy, like, I don't want to get into therapy because it's so much upfront work. Mm-hmm. You got to rehash all of your shit.
Yeah.
Interior design is similar, right? Because like there's this misconception
Sure.
that you hire an interior designer and then you just kind of go like this and then your house is done. But like you as the person hiring, I mean, in conjunction obviously with your interior designer, like you do have to talk to them and give them ideas and give them a sense of what you want. And that part feels very overwhelming to me.
Sometimes. It depends on the client. Like, we have some clients who like want to be involved in every step of the process and see all the options that are out there and come into the office and like sort through our fabric bins and tile drawers and like see them all. And then we have other clients who are like, I've got 2 kids, I've got a dog, I kind of like this one picture that they'll show me, and I'll show them a bunch of pictures of things that I think look sort of similar, and then we just take it from there and deliver them a finished product. And that works great. We need very little feedback from them. A lot of times it's just like a quick text like, hey, are you good with this? Thumbs up, like we just make it happen. So it just depends on how much upfront work you want to put into it. And then also finding a designer that really aligns with your taste, whose aesthetic you really like, and trusting them. Like a lot of this process is really just making sure that you trust your team and trust the people who are making your home for you. And if you can trust them and give them reins to take that on, like I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
What makes for like a nightmare client?
Micromanaging, mind changing, and cost, like price, not understanding costs of things.
Right. Because and walk me, so the cost, the way it works, like the cost structure is typically your clients pay for your time, right? And then you get all sorts of discounts and stuff because you're a professional in the field on like materials and things. Like how does all of that work?
Yeah, so they pay us for our time. So we just bill hourly for everything that we do, and then we charge a markup on everything that we purchase, and then we just like mark up the lowest price that we get. So sometimes they end up paying about retail costs, sometimes it's a little more than retail, but then the time associated with that obviously makes it more expensive. It's definitely a luxury service. It's more expensive to hire a designer than go into like any furniture store and buy everything yourself and pay retail. So I feel like that's a common misconception, that people think like you're going to pay just as much to hire a designer as you would to just buy everything yourself. You pay more to have a designer.
That is super useful and an important point to make. And also the other piece of that is I think a lot of people, have a good eye, have good taste, but that doesn't mean that all people should be interior designers. What do you think that kind of difference is? Because I'm sure you see that in your field, like, right? Like people will be like, oh, I'm an interior designer now because like I picked out some pillows for my couch or whatever it is. What do you, talk to me about that.
So I think there's like the interior designer who's like just buying furniture and not really dealing with construction. In my office, we deal with ground up construction, full gut renovations, decorating, like soup to nuts, like walk through the door, bring your toothbrush, your house is done. That's like the level of finish that we bring it to. And working in construction and on construction sites, dealing with different materials, dealing with architecture, finish details, lighting, plumbing, all of those things are very, very nuanced. I think anybody who has designed a house on the client side or on the design side will tell you that there are 1,001 details that need to be decided on daily. Like I have so many friends who are working on their houses and they're like, oh my God, you have to make so many decisions.
So many.
Every day. And I do. I have to be very decisive. I have to be very clear about what I want, and I have to do it quickly because things are moving, they're building a house. So I think knowing the outcome of some of your decisions is like, I know what color is going to, like what shade of white will look good. I know what plumbing layout is going to be best. I know how thick your grout line needs to be. I know how your transition should be between 2 different floor materials. Like I already know those answers. And so having a professional and experienced designer on your team as you're going through making all those choices will be a huge time saver and an emotional saver in the end, because you don't want to be researching all those things on ChatGPT at 11 p.m. trying to figure out what subfloor thickness you need to tell your builder to have. Like, it's crazy.
That's crazy. And I think also what's interesting through the through line between your parenting life and your home life and your professional life is you're clearly good at anticipating and playing the long game of chess, because you're making decisions now that have a broader impact later. You said like you have high executive functioning. You want to just make the decisions because you want them done right. That sounds like work Emily to a T, as much as it sounds
100%.
Like home Emily.
Yes.
And that's like, I think, a very specific type of person, which says to me like, you're 100% doing what you should be doing, because the decision fatigue of that
is crazy. And the decision fatigue is wild. Like
you're a professional holder of mental load is what I will say.
That's exactly what it is. And I think the other part of being in this business for as long as I have, I also know that there are 5 right answers to every question that we get. So
Right.
I think when you're doing it one time or for your first time or even your second or third time, you get really weighed down by the weight of this one decision, making sure that it has to be perfect and exactly right, where in reality, there's a few ways to do it, and any of those choices are going to be fine. And there's
Just
never,
like parenting.
yeah, and it's not like you walk into a house and you're like, that one pillow really fucked up the whole place. Like, it's
Yeah.
really not that deep. Like, there's a lot of components that go into a space and go into a house. And if you mess one of them up, it's not going to bring down the whole house. Like, it's going to be fine.
Now, my last question is about you are raising these kids. You are a professional mental load holder. This is something I think about a lot. I want your take. How do we make sure, or I don't know if you've thought about this yet, but I've started to think about how do we make sure that our kids, boys, girls, regardless, understand how to anticipate and their own mental load and like make sure that they're good partners. I especially think about this with my son just because of, the stereotypical shit of men aren't as good at anticipating things and being proactive about things. I just like one day I would love for him, should he decide to have a partner one day, to be a good partner. And I'm like starting to think about it
that.
now.
I think about that with my boys a lot. I don't know, girls are wired a little bit differently and they just pay attention to stuff. Like even my 2-year-old daughter will like notice that one of her brothers is sad and like walk over and like pat him on the shoulder, be like, you okay? Yeah. But I think for the boys, it's just listen, I don't know if I'm doing any of this right. Like, jury's still out. Call me in 30 years. Let me know how they're doing. But like my brothers are both really good partners in the executive functioning way, and I'm sure their wives would have different issues with them. But they're both really good cooks. They, I don't know, they're good at tidying and organizing and just keeping the house running in a smooth way. And I think just getting the boys involved in that is important. I mean, I don't do a great job at it because of the aforementioned thing of me being like a crazy Jewish mother. So like I'm always cooking for them, but like my Jack really has taken an interest in cooking. So like he wanted me to teach him how to make some real basic things. So like he can make scrambled eggs and a quesadilla. He can toast a bagel on the pan. Like he baked some cookies the other day. I was like there with him, helping him, but I was cooking something else and he was like, I'll do the cookies. So I think just getting them involved in the everyday tasks of life so they know how hard it is to run a home.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure that out at almost 40.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard.
It's really hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you seem like one of those people who has been a grown-up for a really long time.
I was born very precocious. I remember getting that feedback a lot as a child, that I was born really grown up. And I always remember being a kid being like, I just want to be a grown up. Like and now that I'm a grown up, I'm like, ugh, why? I have to decide what to make for dinner every night.
Yeah, you have to feed them all of the time.
All the time. I hate it.
I do think it suits you. I'm still figuring out. I mean, I was an old soul in the sense that I really liked talking to grown-ups and talking to adults, but like the mechanics of being a grown-up, I'm still trying to figure out.
I mean, I just mailed in my property tax check that I forgot to send in 3 months ago. So like,
see, I love to hear that from you, Emily.
Yeah, I got a thing in the mail and they're like, you forgot to send this in, and I like have the original thing here on my desk to send it, and I didn't, and then I got the purple or pink slip, whatever, in the thing, and I was like, oh my god, this looks terrifying.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Almost.
Well, I did really need to hear that. I do like having people like you in my orbit because it is good to, have people who you feel like are more adult than you. And in this regard on how to run a house, I think you're it, baby. You got it.
I can run a house, no problem. But then like also I took my older kids to the dentist and I was like, how old should a kid be when they first go to the dentist? Because I forgot that.
Yeah.
And they were like, usually we like to see them around 1. Yeah. And they were like, how old's your daughter? And I was like, she's 2. And they're like, you should bring her in.
They changed that guidance, to be fair to you.
Did they change it last year? Because
pretty recently.
Oh man. And then, yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. I mean, my 9-year-old didn't even get his annual physical this year because I just like fully forgot to book it. And then it was like, he was going to be having it 8 months later. And I was like, well, we might as well just see it the next one, you know?
And is he still standing to this very day?
He's totally fine, super healthy. I mean, he's complaining of a leg pain, but I think
growing.
I think it'll pass.
He's probably growing. Emily,
Yeah.
This has been so much fun. I really encourage people. I was very inspired just looking at your designs and being like, oh, there's so much possibility here.
There is a lot. And I think, I mean, if I could encourage everybody, not to even hire a designer, but just like to put effort into making their space feel good, it is such a relief. Like I spent my house felt like a fucking chaotic mess, I had a mental breakdown last week about just like how much there was to do. And so I spent all of Saturday cleaning out random shit. And I have like 5 giveaway bags and 2 trash bags of garbage. And I feel so much better. And I think anybody who can put time into making their space feel calm, it will be worth it.
I believe that. I don't know if it's me or if I'll...
Well, there are people out there who are good at all sorts of stuff. Even an organizer. Oh my God, professional organizers, those people.
You know what the thing is I hired an organizer not long after we moved into this house. My husband has OCD and so is very particular about like things living in certain places. But I can't, but no. He's not that kind of OCD, right? He wants the thing in the place where it should go, but he's not creating the system. He just wants it where it's supposed to be, but he wants everything to be done for him so that he's just informed where the home is.
That's fine, as long as he knows to put it back there.
Yeah, but that requires me to have the brain to know where the fucking home is. Like,
that's what I'm saying. You got hire an organizer.
So we did that. We spent a lot of money, and like broadly, those systems are still in place. But I think my problem with the organizer is the whole thing about like the amount of money you spend on product. Mm-hmm. The decanting of things into things and whatever. There has to be a midway point, and also just from like an environmental perspective, the like amount of like plastic and shit that is brought in.
Oh, don't get into my business then.
I couldn't. You
would die.
I couldn't. I absolutely couldn't. If I were to do it again, I would have to figure out a way to make it feel more economical which I think is basically just put my whole house contents into the trash and start over.
I mean, I feel like the best way to do it is when you hire an organizer when you move. So like you hire them to unpack your shit, and then they put everything where it's supposed to go. They throw away all the stuff that you don't need. They make a pile of stuff for you to be like, keep, toss, donate. And then it's just done.
That would have been the dream.
With systems.
Okay, so what I took away from this conversation is we should just move. No problem.
That's it. It's fine.
Emily, this has been so much fun. I am looking forward to continuing this conversation, asking you for advice that you are going to be like, Carrie, please get a life.
I will give it. I love giving people advice. Are you kidding me? That's why I got into this job.
That's fair.
That is fair. Ask me what I think.
Okay, good.
Thank you for chatting with me. It was really fun. Loved talking.
Such a good hang. All right, have a great rest of the day. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Team, I need your help. If you love it here, please like and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to the Substack for full access to this episode's show notes and join the discussion. And of course, follow me on Instagram at Mutha, MUTHA.life for a daily look at all things Mutha. Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another Chat in the Closet. This podcast was produced by Mutha Life, music by Ronan Landa. See you next time.